guys, welcome back to It's Tamia, and today I'm cooking smothered pork chops. This is not coffee, this is flour. You'll be needing minced onion, and I also have onion powder that you'll be using. You'll be using some minced garlic. You will need cups of water. You will need a lot of water actually. I'll put it in the description below. Salt, of course, ground black pepper, garlic powder. If you use more seasonings than that, then you are totally fine. You can use your own seasonings of what you make with your pork chops. I'm getting my grease started and I'm getting it all hot and ready. So first, I like to season. I already washed my pork chops. I just didn't film that part. But I am seasoning my pork chops with garlic powder and all the seasonings that I just showed you guys. So that's the first thing you want to do is season your meat. And these are pork chops. I feel like when you actually cook these smothered pork chops, the seasoning really matters, because when you mix it in that gravy, it just gives us the best flavor that you can imagine. I also forgot to show in my video Worcestershire sauce. You will actually need that. So now I am moving around the pork chops to get all the seasoning on each front and back. As you see, I am moving it smoothly against each other. I'm adding more seasoning to the pork chops because I see that not everything was all on the back of it. So now, I gotta take my glove. I like to wear gloves when I am seasoning my food, like my meats. You don't have to wear a glove, but I just wear a glove. I am just putting more seasoning on the pork chops. Now, you will need a bowl, and you would like to take your all-purpose flour and just place it in there. That's all you need to do. I'm actually going to be seasoning my flour too with some of the ingredients that I use. And some of the, spices that I use. I am actually cleaning off my island. So I'll take that pork chop and I will flip it front to back in that flour. Front and back. And I'm just going to keep repeating this process. That's all you have to do, guys, is season your pork chops and put it in the flour front to back. Get it all coated. So now that my grease is hot, I'm going to drop them in there. The reason I knew that it was ready is I threw a pinch of flour in the grease, and if it starts sizzling, I knew that it was done. I got 3 pork chops in there because that's all could have fit. But when I'm cooking my meat, I like to move it around. Just let it cook on one side, and then if it's golden on the other side, that's when I will flip it and cook it on the other side. All the minutes and stuff will be included in the description on how long you should cook these pork chops. But for my estimate, I want to say cook it for about 7 to 8 minutes on each side. That's just the estimate of what I am saying. But I will actually have the real time in the description below. So after, so look at that now, golden, and it's just nice and crispy, and it's just like, it looks like it's gonna be good. Let's move on to this gravy. Now this gravy part, you have to pay a close attention, and let me just talk about it. First, you need your grease, and with your grease, I use canola oil, and I place a little just to fill up the pan. I always have trouble fixing gravy, but this gravy, I had made it perfect. It was nice, and I can't wait to show you guys. Don't be afraid to add that flour in there. You definitely need a spoon of flour to add in there. The major part of making this gravy is you have to stir. You have to keep stirring. You cannot stop stirring. I added a little more flour because I like mine to be a little thick. So when I add my water, it's easier for me to stir. So I am whisking and just stirring really fast because this will burn to the pan. So now that you see that I am stirring to get them lumps, to get them even, so when you taste your gravy, you won't even get that floury taste. I did make a big mess, guys, as I was making these smothered pork chops. So you kind of want to after you add your flour and stuff, you want to kind of let it sit and let it get brown enough for it to, if you like your gravy brown. But if you don't, you can do it just like this. You'll see in the video of what I did to make it a little more browner. So now I see that it is ready, and I'm adding that flour. I'm adding that water. As soon as you add that water, you stir. Look how it begins to thicken. So that's not how you want your gravy. You want to add as much water to your consistency on the way you like your gravy. And that's exactly what I did. You see that it's thickened, but like I said in the beginning, you have to keep stirring, and you have to what? You have to what? Like I always say, trust the process. So I am still stirring and adding more water. This is not how I want my gravy. I do not want it to be that so thick like that. So I'm adding more water. And as you see, it is actually coming out to smooth out a little bit. But it's still a little thick in some places, as you see in the video. So now that I keep whisking and keep stirring, I am going to be adding more water, as you will see in the video. That I'll add more water right there too. Keep stirring. That's the key. I'm telling you, when you making your gravy, that is the key of making this good gravy, is stirring, so you won't get that floury taste and you won't have no lumps. Now as I'm stirring, I am adding my seasonings. The seasoning that you use for your pork chops, you want to use a little here and there in your gravy. So I use a little garlic powder, I use a little onion powder. I wanted to kind of show y'all close up for you guys because I made a big mess, but I just want to show you guys what I did. In this process, as you see as the gravy, I keep adding more water. Now you want to add your ground black pepper. Look at that. The gravy is coming really nice and smooth. There you go. That's what I did to make that brown, is that Worcestershire sauce. And if you don't really like that kind of taste, if you don't like Worcestershire sauce at all, I mean, you don't have to add it, but a teaspoon would not hurt. But in this video, I did not add a teaspoon in my gravy. I just like to get that extra tang. I'm adding more water because I want it to just be a little more smoother. And I want to kind of just let it be a more creamy, I'll say. But as you see, I'm adding more Worcestershire sauce to make it a little brown, because I wanted mine to be a little browner, and I just added more water. So if you want yours a little more not as thick, then add more water. Now I am still stirring. This is the stirring to get all them lumps out and just to give it that flavor. I'm adding minced garlic. Now the reason I did not add it in the beginning, because I recently tested out putting minced garlic before, and it burned my minced garlic when I made my gravy. So you have like these little black minced garlic pieces in your gravy, and it's kind of messing it up. Like, oh wow, it's burning my gravy. Look like this. It looks good, but these black pieces are throwing me off. So that's what happened in this. That's what happened when I did a recipe before on gravy, and when I added the minced garlic first. So you want to do it after you're making your gravy. So I just mixed that up, mixed the garlic, in there. And as you see, I'm still stirring, but it's all coming together. Trust me, that seasoning in this gravy really, really, really just so good. As you see, I had my spoon to taste it. You have to taste your food. If your gravy if it's not the way you like it, add more seasoning. And that's what I did. I added a little more salt, a little garlic, a little onion powder. And I added more water because I wanted it to be a little more smoother. So after I done that, you see I'm adding the salt. I know y'all just keep seeing me stir and adding more seasonings, but I really wanted to show y'all the whole process on how I made it. On how I made this, because showing the whole process will know when you're trying to cook this recipe, you'll know exactly how to do it. So now my pork chops are nice and golden and brown. You want to put these aside and let them sit. Put a paper or in a bowl or anything, but let it sit. Here's a close-up on that gravy. Oh my gosh. Now that you see, I've let that gravy sit. And look how brown it is now. Look how smooth the gravy is. I placed my pork chops in the gravy. Yes, that's why we, smother pork chops. You flip it and look at that. Look at that. It looks amazing. Just not by looking. If you taste this, you will want to eat smothered pork chops again and again. I have to add some type of my family in my videos because I just, they love my cooking. My dad loves smothered pork chops. Honestly, it was kind of like my first time making these. Not in this video, but kind of just recently learning on how to make smothered pork chops. And my dad honestly loves them. So this is after I like to place the top over them to let them simmer. And look at that. Oh my gosh. The brown is nice and smooth and nice and creamy and thick. So when you, oh my gosh. I would not lie to you guys like I always said. And look at this. This is the finished product. If you like more videos like this, make sure you like. Give it a comment if you want to. Subscribe. Share to a friend. But honestly, thank you for watching this video. And I hope you enjoy.